Put the bunny down. Put the bunny down. Put the bunny down. Put the bunny down.
Put the bunny back in the box.
Hello and welcome to Con Air, the podcast. I am Mark Happiness Hertz Hoffmeyer.
And I am Jay, 159 Cats Cluett, welcoming you aboard Con Air Chapter 20, where we're flying through the action masterpiece Con Air, chapter by chapter, having a great deal of fun doing it. This is Chapter 20. What happens in Chapter 20 of Con Air? Well, Billy Bedlam questions Cameron Poe about his story that got him out of the transfer queue, and how, if it were true, they'd recognise each other, prompting Garland Greene to spout his psychiatric analysis of Billy. Meanwhile, back in the Marshal's office, Vince Larkin introduces himself to Trisha and Casey Poe, and begins to explain how they are trying to resolve the situation. Whilst back on the Jailbird, Diamond Dog emerges from the hold wearing sunglasses that previously belonged to Sally Can't Dance, prompting Billy to head into the hold himself. So we need someone to help us talk about Chapter 20 of Con Air. So joining us this week is one of my oldest friends. He and I were taught by some of the worst lecturers Bournemouth University have ever seen. Calling in live from Vancouver is Marcos Moreno. Marcos, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello,
everyone.
Some of the worst lecturers known to man?
Oh, you don't.
I didn't agree to that statement. That was a cheap shot.
Yes, they're not going to listen to this.
Are they like the people from the guy from Princess Bride? It's like marriage is what brings on, is that like, what's it like? Is it like Bueller, Ferris Bueller? Like a instructor from that?
We had a selection of all of them, I would say. I've always been quite good at maths, but we had one of the worst maths teachers who is, I'm told, still teaching there. I'm not going to name names.
No names.
But he also, yeah, but he was terrible. Like friction has always been something I've always had an issue with, like with the calculations for that. And like quite close to an exam, I was like, can you just kind of go over friction? I've always struggled with that. And his response was, it's a bit late for that now, and just moved on to somebody else. So,
I like that
kind of thing.
Did you have an instructor who wore a red leather jacket, and since you guys were so unruly, they showed you they had the new karate, and then they won you over?
No, that might have helped, I think.
Like Dangerous Minds. Did you have any Mr. Holland's opuses at your school?
No, certainly
I don't know the references.
No Dead Poets Society's inspiring speeches anywhere, unfortunately. That would have been good. But no Captain, my Captain.
That's the first thing I always tell my students. I'm like, I'm not here to Mr. Holland's opus y'all. Like, I was like, I'm just here to teach. So, and then they're like, I don't know what that means, Mark. You're old. And I'm like, that's fair enough.
I feel like the background is going to be me furiously Googling the references as you guys fire them out at light speed. I'm like, what does that mean? Yeah.
Well,
so we will mainly talk about Con Air.
Yeah.
Well, a little story before we move on there. Final year, right? We were doing physics together.
Yeah.
What was the result of the final exam, Jay?
So I kind of took it upon myself to teach a lot of my fellow students to the maths that I was pretty good at, I think I got an 88 in that final exam, and I think you got an 89 if I recall.
I think I beat you by 1%.
Yeah, I think you did.
Physics exam, after you generously helped me revise for the week before.
I'm going to take as testament to my incredible teaching skills and nothing else.
Yeah.
What is it like when the mentee becomes the what is it when you train someone then they become the pro? What's that? It's like, I don't know. I feel like it's a Star Wars reference.
Heartbreaking is how that is.
Yeah. You're super competitive too, Jay. So I mean, that 1% probably. You probably kick rocks and mutter about it still today, don't you?
You know what? I escaped any harm doing because someone else got top marks, so it was like I got out of because if I got top mark, that would have been that would have been like devastating.
Yeah. We wouldn't have been talking to you today.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, exams. I'm good at the maths, but the exam situation kind of throws me sometimes. And I hate electronics. I really hate electronics, and it was like physics and electronics. I just hate it, which is why I work in electronics today. So I still hate electronics. But there we are. So
wait. Does that hate the hate, right? Like, so that makes you feel normal. If you felt happy about electronics, you would actually feel pain.
I
see what you're trying to do. Yeah, it's I'm just sad doing electronics. It doesn't make me pain. It's not painful. It's just kind of unhappy. But there we are.
God.
So yeah, and I do it every day.
Referencing.
Every day.
I bet you have to get a lot of new keyboards because your tears just fall into all your other ones and just destroy them.
Yeah, you don't know how true that is.
So was that Taylor Swift song, Tears on My Guitar? It's like tears on your laptop or keyboard. Is that...
I don't know the Taylor Swift song, but I'll take your word for it, I'm afraid. So what do you think of Garland's psychiatric analysis of Billy Bedlam here? The font of misplaced rage, name your cliche, mother held him too much or not enough, last picked at kickball, late night sneaky uncle, which is not the same. Those do not equate. The pick last at kickball, late night sneaky uncle, not the same.
Yeah.
One much worse than the other.
Yeah, that took a right turn. Yeah.
Also, I was reading about serial killers, and they said that Psychology Today says that organized serial killers have a slightly higher average IQ than do their disorganized counterparts, with a 92.2 average. Disorganized serial killers have a 92.8 average, with an average IQ among all serial killers being 94.7. And then I looked up the normal IQ for people, and it's 85 and 115. So most serial killers are not exceptionally smart. Like, the movies make us believe that serial killers can, like, build a nuclear bomb, deactivate a nuclear bomb, use that to build a canoe, and then blow up something with that canoe. But, like, most serial killers are right in the middle when it comes to IQ. So he's talking some, like, pretty heavy stuff on this plane. But I guess just, I don't know. In the real world... go for it.
No, I was going to say, like, it comes with the territory to be obsessive, right? So maybe the focus rather than the intelligence is what's exceptional.
Hey.
Like, if you focus the amount of intelligence you have into something obsessive, then you might come up with might be an expert in a particular topic.
That's like me and Deep Blue Sea.
Like
I just focus all my attention on it.
And Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, us and
I
Deep
was
Blue
there
Sea.
too.
Well, that makes sense. Maybe he has looked at psychology, Garland Greene, because he's worried about his psychology so much. Like, Dahmer did try to quit killing, so he moved in with his grandma. So maybe he has, he spent time in the prison community, and he might have researched. He's
probably been in a lot of, like, group psychiatric sessions in prison as well. So he's witnessed professional, like, doctors giving this same diagnosis to other similar patients to Billy Bedlam.
Is he parroting?
Could be, or he's learned from those psychiatrists, and he's parroting. I think so. Yeah.
Well, the movie doesn't reference how long he's been in prison right? I don't think.
No, it just mentions his crimes of many murders.
Yeah, so if he's 10 years into prison and he's so bad that he's in, like, isolation or whatever, then he's got a lot of time to read. He's not exactly out in the yard, having fights. So
no, he doesn't have the physique of some of these other prisoners. Certainly not.
But maybe, I don't know, maybe now's a good time to bring up my main observation, which was a revelation anyway. So I watched. I'm like a year older than JR, so I was I don't know. I guess I was about 10 when this movie came out, or like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And which was a sweet spot, I think, for that.
Did you see it in the cinema?
Somewhere around there. No, back then we were really into waiting 6 to 12 months and getting the VHS rental from the Blockbuster.
That beats my family of waiting till it's on TV with adverts in between. So.
Right, there is that too. We eventually graduated from complete cheapskate to yes, like £5 is okay for, like, entertaining 4 people for 2 hours.
I think as a family we rented one film I can recall ever.
Oh wow!
And that film
what was that?
Fierce Creatures with John Cleese and Kevin Kline, Jamie Lee Curtis. That's the one I can remember renting.
There was Monty Python, Fish Called Wanda reunion.
Yeah, there was, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how it works in the US, but like in the UK, I think all of the channels that show movies have the like annoying advert breaks, and it's so jarring. You know, you're right in the middle of like you're in that world, and then suddenly it's like Colgate. You know, it's like,
I mean, we get some. I don't want to get away from your point, but we do get a real abrupt break in this scene when Larkin sat down with Trisha and Casey.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Actually, I want to talk to you about that. Hard cut to back on the plane. Hard cut back to it in a future chapter. And if you read the script, these are like, it's a big chunk of Larkin talking to Trisha and Casey, and then a big chunk of Poe and Bedlam. So there's not this cut in the middle of it. It's a real weird editing decision, I think, to just keep jumping around. But sorry, go back to your point.
Yeah, no, good point.
What time of day is this taking place? This scene,
what do you mean?
In particular, like when, where are we? Because they're on afternoon,
mid-afternoon, yeah, I would have thought, or like early afternoon or something.
So, have you seen the lighting in this scene inside Larkin's office?
The long slant.
It's because it's always sunset, isn't it? It's always sunset.
Well, it was nearing sunset when the helicopters took off. A couple of scenes ago, we were saying like we don't know what time zone they're taking off from, how it's going to get them to go there, because it can't be the same one that the plane's in.
Good point.
Yeah.
The lighting just crushes my soul on this scene. It's just such artificial lighting with like a light. Yeah, just put it right here and just bomb it right in. Like it's,
July 14th is Magic Hour Day. I think we can
There's always soft lighting on this day. That's one of my biggest. That's one of my biggest annoyances, y'all. When it's supposedly 6 p.m. and the light is just, or like it's supposedly noon and the light is bombing in parallel to where the house is. Like, who cares? Like, it's a parallel universe. Maybe the sun works differently, but it's like, come on, y'all.
Yeah. For me, Transformers was pretty bad for that. It was like, when is this ever not sunset? Like, when does everything? What happens the other hours of the day? It's like, every other scene is like sunset, which I like.
With Michael Bay, right? Yeah. Every hour is magic hour.
Right. I mean, I love that lighting. Don't get me wrong, but I get what you mean. It's actually like horribly inaccurate, and but I do like how the abundance of it in 90s movies and certain directors is just like. But I, as an adult now, like even with my like smart lighting at home and stuff, like that is the setting I gravitate to. It's like sunset, whatever. That's like my happy zone, but.
Because you got to bear in mind, with Cornair, everything since chapter 4 is taking place on the same day.
Yeah.
So, like, there is a lot to happen in the day after this scene, but then when they descend into Vegas, it turns into night at the flick of a switch. So yeah, the lighting is all over the place in this one. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
When I watch Dark Knight, I don't care. I get he goes in the tunnel, he comes out, it's dark. I don't care. It's fine. It's just when I don't like bad, like, you know, the things in a studio and then they just shoot light, like blam it in.
Yeah.
That's it. Sorry, that's my one complaint. But yeah, back to Garland Greene. What was your observation about him?
Well, just so the reason it struck me like in a surprising way was because I watched it once when I was 11, then I watched it just once more in university, and then I watched it a month ago. So this is like one of those like epic movies that are always referenced, but 25 years go by and I've only managed to watch it 3 times, and this is the first time I noticed how dramatic Garland's introduction is. First of all, like, of course, when you're like 11, you're like, oh man, that's like, holy crap. And then you know, I watched it again, and I was like, wow, they're really going for it with the introduction of this character and you know, the brutally butchered 37 people, etc. And then I started to notice that towards the end of the movie, because I forgot how the movie actually played out, because it's been 10 years or something since I watched it. I was waiting for Garland to do something horribly violent. Just the whole time, I'm like, oh, okay, now I guess. And then it gets to that last scene, and he's just in the casino, and I'm like, well, he's not going to turn around and kill people now, right? And then the credits roll up, and it dawns on me like he did nothing wrong in the entire movie, actually doing anything wrong or bad or even illegal. Mm-hmm. Like there's actually no malice, not even a hint of it. Actually, he's completely sane in terms of actions and like script and like speech, unless I missed something.
You missed something that was cut out of the film. Because they do cut out a scene between when he was in the cage and now, or around about now, where he kills one of the guards. Because he's looking at a guard and kind of looking kind of testy, and Diamond Dog or Cyrus is like, go on then, and and then you cut back and he's like blood dripping from his mouth. He's killed the guard.
Because I thought, okay, maybe this brings it back to reality, because I thought that was possibly like genius or just a really clever play on like the writer's part to have everybody watching this movie think that this is the baddest person, but then actually write the script of somebody who's like a regular pedestrian, that like just a regular Joe.
And that's a great point too, right? Because he's pleasant on the plane. Like, hi, Garland. He's kind of creepily staring at people, but
a little bit.
He makes some comments here and there. He sits in the pool with the girl, but he doesn't kill her. And then he just goes to Vegas and starts gambling.
He's singing as they go down.
Yeah, singing as they go down. He makes a comment about Leonard Skinner. He's not swearing. He's not macho posturing. He's not crouch fighting in the bottom of a plane. He's just being kind of creepy Garland, staring at people.
But I love the reactions to him. Like when he starts speaking, his first words, like Poe and Baby are just like looking around, like what the hell is going, like settling on him.
Yeah. Because I thought what they did was they wrote like this crazy character on the first pass, and then in the writers' room or whatever, or I guess it's just one writer here, but they were looking at the script and going, oh, what would be funny is like replace all that super violent action and script with a really normal person, and just see, like, that's what I thought they did. That's what I thought.
That works up until they cast Steve Buscemi as a normal person.
Well, okay, this brings me to my other point, which is the reason I thought that was clever was I thought it was like this higher level thinking of like, let's play into people's natural kind of habits, like ugly human being kind of habits of like prejudice and judging on appearance, right? By casting Buscemi, people, if you look at the way all the characters respond, they're responding purely on what they've been told about him and what he looks like, not what he does or what he says.
At this point, they're not going to cast Burt Reynolds. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to have...
I'd love it if they did.
Like the clean cut guy. I feel like whenever you get a serial killer, they're like Anthony Hopkins or a looking, with his hair slicked back, or Kevin Spacey from Seven. They always seem like a little left of center.
Yeah, Brian Cox.
Yeah. Brian Cox. Oh, Manhunter. But yeah, it's never like a Burt Reynolds or a who's another just.
Well, it's not
Mark
a jock,
Wahlberg.
Right? It's never a jock.
Yeah.
It's not a jock.
It's not a Josh Duhamel kind of thing.
Yeah. It's not Tyrese or anybody from Transformers for that matter.
Exactly. Yeah.
Megan
Fox is Garland Greene.
Like literally the only thing, he's got creepy looking eyes and whatever, strange teeth, and that's about, and he stares. But
his demeanor doesn't, like the way he is just so quiet and still. Like when he speaks, is that the voice that Poe and Baby were expecting to hear from him? This kind of measured tone, this like intellectual dialect. Were they expecting more like a Bobcat Goldthwait kind of thing to come out of there? Or...
I spittle jerk.
Or just like animal noises to emerge from his mouth.
Yeah.
And also too, they shoot a lot of the scene in profile, which is quite interesting. Like with him talking like that, and they do a good job of making Buscemi seem kind of little too. And the introduction of him makes him feel so much larger than life. But then when Nick Cage looks at him and goes, "Oh, hi, Garland," and then when he makes his speech, like you do zoom in on him a little bit and you get him from profile, but they never shoot these scenes of his ominously. They shoot him from a distance. Like they kind of almost go out of the way to make him seem a little in this bit. And,
which
I like the way they shoot him.
Yeah, but I guess that I need to call up the writer. I need to get to the bottom of this, because what you're saying just supports like this crazy little theory that But that's the observation they were trying to make. Because you're scared at first sight of this new person. You've heard about them, or people are describing all this bad stuff, and then it turns out they're just okay. And they didn't actually do or mean any harm except for the deleted scene. But
he's not a psych. Okay, so what do you think he is? Because there's like, they talk about, I read about Dangerous Minds, the mental illnesses of infamous criminals, and this is from forensiccolleges.com. And they said that there's like schizophrenia, borderline personality disorder, and antisocial personality disorder. Do you think he falls in any of those? That's a big question to ask you guys on the spot.
Not trained professionals.
Yeah, because he's not a psychopath. He's not a sociopath, right? Because he's not he's not faking trying to blend in.
True. And or is he? I don't know.
Yeah,
because we don't have enough of him. Yeah. We don't have enough of him on the movie. Like, it's actually...
He could be schizophrenic. It could be kind of multiple personality kind of things going on there, where this is kind of the intellectual side of him, but put him in the right kind of situation when he's hungry, something else could happen.
When he's hungry? I don't know. He's hangry?
Well, you don't...
We can't diagnose him now. Yeah. I was just trying to diagnose.
He skipped lunch.
I was just trying to figure out this guy's hyper intelligent, and I feel like most movie serial killers are always hyper intelligent. Like Kiss the Girls. I feel like the 90s just made every serial killer the smartest person on the planet.
Has there been a film about a dumb serial killer? Has that happened? Just someone who really falls into it and fail unintentionally.
Follow-up question: if that movie existed, would you have watched it, and would it be any good?
It could well be. I feel like, I don't know, Marcus, if you know about the Ernest films, I feel like there could be an Ernest.
Ernest
serial killer movie. Yeah. Earliest goes on a rampage.
Yeah.
Ernest I guess goes mad. a lot of things, you'd be very unsuccessful at it if you were really dumb.
But it could be like a Mr. Bean kind of thing, where you just kind of, or a Mr. Bean accidentally becomes a serial killer.
Wait, and just watching Rowan Atkinson be Bean, but murdering people in in Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer style. And just so Henry Portrait is Mr. Bean. That movie I just mentioned, it's just really dark, and just it takes you to the next level of despair, and it's very mean.
It's Michael Rooker's first film.
Watching Bean do that.
That would be epic, actually. That would be disturbing. Yeah.
It'd be great.
It just falls into it? Whoa! Is that what, we're hunting this guy down, but he has no pattern.
Teddy bear.
He has no pattern. We don't know where he's striking next. It's almost like it's by accident.
He's just wearing one shoe.
Actually, the movie could work because, the next actions are so erratic and dumb that they would be harder to predict than they hire really intelligent people to track down serial killers, and those people are too intelligent to think about. It falls apart.
You have Tommy Lee Jones there going I need every outhouse, whatever, all of that, the whole speech I don't know, and the guy's just asleep in the back of a cop car, taking a nap he didn't know. He's just tired and he's had to sleep behind him.
He's in the group eating a quesadilla while Tommy Lee Jones is talking.
But listening intently because he wants to help, and he's going to try and help him catch this guy.
Do you need some help? Yeah. Take a flashlight. Go over there. And they're like, three cops are missing. Where are they?
That happened. Not the serial killer version, but I was listening to or I read somewhere that there was this search party went out looking for a hiker somewhere in Asia, and this hiker, the group crosses the hiker, and he ends up joining the group looking for him, and for hours. It's like that, where you wouldn't think to go to ask who that person is because they didn't look in distress,
that's a great point. The things that really flummox me are when things are just way out of left field, when they catch you completely off guard, and you're kind of just going, you're trying I feel like the wheels in my head are spinning. Did someone just say that to me? So if you have that one, like you said, Jay, where Steve Buscemi's just in the crowd while TLJ's talking, but every outhouse and in-house, it's a good idea. It's fun. Bean. I want it's like Rat Race, but with killers and Bean.
The Fugitive meets Rat Race. I'm here for it. Yeah.
Wow.
That would be great.
Directed by Deep Blue Sea's John Pogue.
Deep Blue Sea 3, yeah.
Yeah, Deep Blue Sea 3's John Pogue.
Yeah. So I love the interaction between Billy Bedlam and Poe at the start of this. It's one of the many scenes I describe as my favourite scene so far. I love the way Nick Chinlund talks. I've said it before. Just the growl that he gives to every line is fantastic. But he needs to work on his comebacks. Because when Poe was like, there was 160 cats in North Block, I didn't want 159. What do you think about that? And Bedlam's line is like, yeah, and just walks away. Like that's no comeback at all.
What do I think about that? What do I think about that? What do I think about that?
What do you think about that?
Well, I didn't know you either. And then
like Cyrus would have had such a comeback to that.
Yeah,
that was the minimum. Somebody mailed it in like on that script day. You know, like that was the minimum you can do in a script, isn't it? Like silence would have been more dramatic. like a silent walk away.
Because it's that he's looking down and he looks up and opens his eyes slowly at the same time. Like Chinlund sells it. He does the best he can with that. Yeah, but there needs to be something more there. It's not good.
Definitely.
Right, so what's the comeback? What's the perfect comeback for the situation?
Just even a simple like I'm watching you or something, you know, something like a threat, because is not a threat, right? And this is a threatening person. He's even kind of scary looking, and is kind of passive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, perfect comeback. I only knew 159. Wait, I didn't know 159 of them. I got nothing. No. I don't even know how to come back from that.
That's it. Maybe this is the problem. The best thing to do is because in the script, this scene kind of isn't really. It is in the script, but it's a bit differently. Baby O's in there, and the scene ends with Baby O butting in and saying to Bedlam, maybe you should shut the F up, you steroid swallowing, swastika wearing, hee-haw watching mother effer, because you're starting to get on my nerves, man. Wow. And that's when the scene ends, where Poe was up the aisle, Billy watches him narrowly, cut away. So they cut out that scene for Michael T. He didn't get to see that.
I guess they wanted a more global market on.
Hee-haw watching is fun. Hee-haw watching mother effer is a nice.
I love how everyone's just calling him a hillbilly on this flight, Nick Cage. Like everyone's just assumed that he is.
That's at Billy Bedlam. That's Baby O saying that to Billy Bedlam. So someone else can call it hillbilly here.
Yeah. We got Ving Rhames calling him a hillbilly. Then you have Nick. Then you have that guy being called a hillbilly. It's just there's a lot of hillbillies flying around on this flight.
Too many.
Too many?
Yeah.
How about Baby O's sweat work in this scene, Jay? Does he get the sweat? Does he get the sweat bucket award in this scene?
Baby O easily gets the sweat bucket award for this chapter. I mean, at the end, when Cage is watching Bedlam descend into the hold, he's looking pretty sweaty. But this is definitely if Baby O is in the chapter, he wins the sweat bucket award. Because he is just constantly sweating from, I don't know if you know this, he has diabetes. He may have mentioned it once or twice, I don't know. But yes, he's a very sweaty character all the time. There'll be nothing left of him at the end of the film.
Wait, are you okay? I'm dehydrated.
They realise at the end of the film that he's been sat in a sauna this whole time, and he just didn't realise.
Like he's got the only heated seat in the airplane. That was so cool.
Pinball played a prank and put all of the heaters under his chair.
Pinball did it?
Yeah, in case the fire he started didn't work, he had this backup plan for setting Baby on fire with the heated seat.
Slow. It's like, you put a lobster in water and slowly turn up the heat. That's what he's doing to Baby O.
It's like, you like shrimp, don't you? You're in Forrest Gump. Boil the shrimp.
Well, I feel a little hotter than I was before. I'm not sure. I've been sitting in it for a while here. And also, I did something for y'all. At the end, when Diamond Dog comes out with the sunglasses, and I love the response by Sally Can't Dance, like Men. What a great reading. But I went through and I looked up my favorite sunglasses of Nicolas Cage's filmography.
Nicolas Cage's
filmography. Okay.
And I know that it's Ving Rhames. This is a fun Bringing Out the Dead reunion, by the way. But it's I went through Nicolas Cage's filmography and I pulled out my favorite sunglasses of his. Not just glasses, like Color Out of Space, he wears glasses. In Kick-Ass, he wears glasses. I found specifically sunglasses. Now, my first one's cheating a little bit, but I found the ocular device in National Treasure where he does a little flipping on his glasses.
Okay.
I mean, if you take that outside, it can block some sun. But the number one, though, is the Parasol 2976 model with the gold emblem from Lord of War. Like, whenever you type in Lord of War, you just see those sunglasses. And he looks cool. Like, he's wearing those sunglasses. The sunglasses don't wear him. If you watch Ghost Rider, those kind of Elvis sunglasses that he's wearing, they wear him. He doesn't wear them. But in Lord of War, he looks great. And then I found a webpage called There's a webpage called sunglassesid.com.
Oh, nice. Yeah, okay.
And I found out that I also looked up his unbearable weight of massive talent. And he's wearing a Black Police times Louis Hamilton SPL 32 sunglasses with 32 red lenses and the unbearable weight of massive talent. And I like those ones a lot.
I was trying to, I knew I'd seen him with red sunglasses and I couldn't think of where it was from. So that must be it.
Yeah. And And he looks great in like Aviators he wears in Bangkok Dangerous. He wears them in Firebirds and he wears them in USS Indianapolis.
What about Snake Eyes? Is that a sunglasses movie?
Oh, that's a good question.
He's inside for most of Snake Eyes.
It's dark and it's inside.
But
yeah,
I feel like he'd still be wearing sunglasses in there.
Like it's a De Palma movie, so someone has to be.
Maybe Nicolas Cage with a sunglasses scene is like Tom Cruise with a motorbike scene, like it's in the contract or whatever. Like they have to shoehorn that in.
So you brought up Snake Eyes, so I have to say, I don't know if I've said this on the show or not before, but in Snake Eyes, Gary Sinise plays a character called Kevin Dunn. Also in Snake Eyes is the actor Kevin Dunn.
Oh.
Well, I saw it for the first time earlier this year and was going insane watching this. Every time they called Gary Sinise Kevin Dunn, and the actual Kevin Dunn is over. What is this? No, stop! And I couldn't handle it.
That must be an inside joke. That must have been an inside joke between the.
If it was coincidence, my brain is melted out of my ear. I don't understand this world anymore.
Oh yeah,
and he's in Transformers too.
He is in Transformers and Transformers 1.
Yeah.
Looking at all the pictures on IMDb for Snake Eyes, no one is wearing sunglasses.
But I also love his red hexagonal sunglasses in Face Off.
Yes,
he wears 3D sunglasses in Valley Girl, but I think his most infamous are, if you type in Deadfall, Nick Cage sunglasses. Like, that's one of his worst movies ever made. It's quite soul-crushing. Deadfall, Nick Cage, and you'll see his sunglasses there.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The sunglasses, the hair and the moustache combo.
Yeah.
None of it saying this is the bad film?
Yeah, it's insane. Watch Deadfall. It's a real bonkers little film. So yeah,
it looks terrible.
But I think if I had to pick one, I would do Lord of War because he just looks so cool. Like in Drive Angry, I feel like he's trying to look cool, but in Lord of War, he just is cool. If that makes sense.
I'm gonna stick with the red lenses from Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. They're out there for me.
Yeah, he looks good in those, and they're a character in the movie.
I agree on your Lord of War. I agree. It's simple and effective. He could go anywhere in the world, be taken seriously with those sunglasses.
That's like perfect for an arms dealer, right? So then that's really good costume design. Because wherever, like, he could show up anywhere and just blend in and look great in those glasses.
Yeah, you get some really regional fashion trends, right? And those don't work all over. And this looks like, it could work in more places.
You just solidified my like of these. That was he could close the deal anywhere. And that, but like, it also reminds me, like, when people are like, Nick Cage isn't a good actor, like, watch Lord of War. Actually, watch Con Air closely. Like, his scenes in this, like, he gives this movie so much of an extra presence. Like,
definitely, yeah. This wouldn't be AAA, right? With or whatever. Or I don't know how you categorize it, but whatever. This wouldn't have been the blockbuster.
No. This would be, I don't know, like if Freddie Prinze Jr. was in this movie, it would just go directed Blu-ray. I don't know why I pulled him.
So I watched Evasive Action recently, which is an unofficial sequel to Con Air. That I covered it on the Exploding Helicopter podcast with our friend Will Slater, who's covering every film with an exploding helicopter.
Wait, is this the first time you're mentioning that movie in this series?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to just go into a little more detail?
I'm about to. So,
okay.
Evasive Action, you do not need to watch it. It's not a good film. But it stars. It's relevant to the conversation because you're talking about how Nick Cage brings so much to Con Air. The star of Evasive Action is Dorian Harewood, who is an actor I wasn't familiar with. He's one of the guys in Full Metal Jacket, one of the soldiers. But I haven't seen him in anything else. He is the Nick Cage role. So Evasive Action is essentially Con Air on a train, which references Con Air in it, because they got to transfer some prisoners from one prison to another. They pick a train because a character says, "Oh, I sure wish we were flying," and the response is, "Well, ever since that plane load of prisoners went down in Vegas, the FAA won't have anything to do with us." So
Nice.
I think this was a script written to be Con Air 2, Conrail, I assume, but it didn't.
Conrail?
And
Conrail.
So it stars Dorian Harewood as Luke Sinclair, who is a guy who comes home one day and his wife and his kids have been murdered, and then cut to the courtroom, and the guy is let off because there's contamination of evidence. And so he gets away scot-free, despite the fact that he's there looking so smug and kind of blowing kisses and everything. Like, I got away with it. Walks outside, and in a fit of rage, Luke Sinclair grabs a cop's gun and shoots him in cold blood. It's like broad daylight outside a courthouse next to police officers. Gets arrested 15 years. Roy Scheider is in this film from Jaws as the Cyrus the Virus kind of character. Ray Wise. Is the John Cusack role. Essentially, he's the cop trying to track him down. And Don Swayze, brother of Patrick, is in there as one of the inmates. And Clint Howard, brother of Ron Howard, is the Steve Buscemi-esque character. So Dorian Howard brings very little to this role. This is where we'll get to. Nick Cage brings so much to Karen Poe. He commits to the performance. He brings idiosyncrasies and just ways of speaking to it. Dorian Harewood gives kind of a flat performance the whole way through. You don't care about his character throughout. So that's the point of Nick Cage is great. He's fantastic. He's always trying. He's always giving everything his all. But relevant to the Buscemi conversation earlier, how that character could have been done incorrectly and poorly is how they handle Clint Howard's Hector the Director Miller in Evasive Action. He is a character who has killed 11 people. Whenever every kill he does, he sets up to be like a famous movie scene. We don't get to see this. We don't get to see any of that. All we get to see is every line of dialogue he says is a movie quote. A famous movie quote. And such quotes he uses are, "We're going to need a bigger boat," for a film in which Roy Scheider appears as an actor. And also, "Houston, we have a problem," a film Clint Howard is in.
What year is this?
98.
It's on Tubi, if you have Tubi.
It's on YouTube.
They cooked this together within a year of Con Air's release.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
But
it's an unofficial.
It does actually sound about right now that I think about it more. But you'd think it would take more effort to make something that bad.
Well, it runs out of steam about 2/3 of the way through. It turns out
it runs out of steam. It's a train movie.
Unintentional pun. But that there's footage used in a kind of climactic crash sequence taken from other films. From the film Silver Streak.
I forgot you could do that.
It's a bad film. I don't think you can. But they did. I suppose they might have just
same studio
towards Silver Streak. It's a bad film. And I think the day that this podcast comes out, if you head over to Exploding Helicopter Podcast, you'll hear me and Will talking about it over there. Just coincidence they come out the same day. But do not go and watch this film. It is free to watch in many places, but you should not do that. It's only an hour and a half long, but don't do it. It's not worth it. But yeah, that's just like the Clint Howard character. He also gets away at the end, but you don't see him get away. His character just isn't circled back to. His character's there, scampers off in a scene, and you never see him again.
Right.
But he's like, then there's a train crash, so maybe he dies, maybe he doesn't. We don't know. Maybe he's out there. But you don't see him do anything awful. He just does these terrible movie quotes and like frees himself and runs away, and is an awful character.
See, they missed. They could have done something very intentional there, of like ending in another casino scene. You know, just to like,
where he quotes Casino.
Just in case he got to the very last seconds of the movie and didn't draw the parallels or whatever. Like, you could, just have a little casino scene at the end with the character, and then
he says like, always bet on black.
yeah, right. What year is that one? Is that one? I guess that was mid-90s, wasn't it?
Oh, that's a good movie quote, just to pull from that. Always bet on black.
Yeah.
Oh,
that'll be right on.
But he does the most. He does the quotes like, "Hey, here's Johnny. Are you talking to me? I smell napalm." The most obvious quotes you can think of, the most famous ones in the world. To get like, so everyone in the audience knows that he's doing movie quotes.
Yeah.
Did he reference Son-in-Law or any Pauly Shore movies?
If he did, I didn't catch it because I haven't seen them.
Wait, you haven't seen a single Pauly Shore? You saw Encino Man.
He didn't reference Encino Man. That's the one I've seen.
Or wait, no, California Man.
California. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. It is Son-in-Law week here in America.
It's what, Thanksgiving?
Yes. Everyone celebrates. So it's no longer Thanksgiving week, the holiday. Everyone's like, "Hey, happy Son-in-Law week."
What's the origin? Like, what happened there?
There's only two.
The film Son-in-Law.
With Pauly Shore, he's a California crazy RA in a college, and he meets Colorado Gino, who's a freshman, and he takes her rollerblading, gets her hair cut, and she gets a butterfly tattoo, and then she takes him home back to Iowa to pretend to be her boyfriend because her other boyfriend wants to get engaged to her, and she doesn't want that. But then things spiral out of control, and you have a city boy in the country, and hilarity ensues, but it takes place during Thanksgiving. So only two of us call it Son-in-Law week, but it's growing. It's growing.
I was like, I've never either. Yeah, I was completely lost.
This is the first time Marcos and Mark are meeting each other, and I've been looking forward to just seeing how it went.
I'm scribbling away. I got like there's a lot of references.
Don't watch many of the movies that I recommend.
Yes,
right?
don't.
Don't.
That's a simple rule.
Yeah. Yeah, 5 rules. Yeah, don't watch Son-in-Law. You know what?
Don't believe most of what Mark says.
Yeah. If you're going to watch a Pauly Shore movie, watch Encino Man because of Brendan Fraser. Or California Man. Brendan Fraser, Sean Astin, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've watched at least half of that movie. I need to rewatch it, but yeah, it's I got the gist.
All right. I'm going to give you 5 actors who are prominent in the 90s, Marcos, and I want you to tell me whether they could. Which you pick one of the 5 to take over for Nick Cage in this role. All right. Okay. I'm going to give you this: Wesley Snipes.
Wait, a sequel or a remake?
No, this movie. Like in like let's say in '97 they're making this. We have Brendan Fraser, Wesley Snipes, Burt Reynolds,
prominent in the 90s.
John Leguizamo. And Chow Yun-Fat. Which one would you want?
I know the last name, but I can't picture him. I think it's got to be Snipes out of that one. Actually, you gave a tough draw on like the first. What was the first one again?
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, he's pretty close. One of those two, Brendan Fraser or. But the problem with, I don't know. I haven't actually watched, like, literally, I haven't watched The Mummy properly and stuff like that. I haven't seen Brendan Fraser try to do dramatic, like, like the amount of calories that Nicolas Cage is burning in these scenes. I don't know what the equivalent looks like as an output from Brendan Fraser.
I think Snipes is the best pick.
Yeah, I think so too.
Snipes can be funny. Like, I would love to hear him say, "Hello, Garland." Like, just like in his, like just him saying, because he can be dry too. Snipes can be.
Because Brendan Fraser I love Brendan Fraser. He's fantastic in the movie. When he's doing a lot, you get things like George of the Jungle, where he goes too cartoony I would say.
Yeah.
Which is the tone of George of the Jungle, to be fair, but he's the correct one for that. Like, I've never seen him do a lot and it kind of work for a film as adult as Con Air.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Nicolas Cage has an intensity. His neutral, his starting point is fairly intense. Then he can get more intense, right? And I think Snipes is similar, where he's got range, but if he just stood still and expressed nothing, he's still got a bit of intensity. And then also Snipes has played like the good and bad sides, with Demolition Man and other stuff, and so that if things turn ugly, he can go into that, he can go into that mode. Or but
we could have had the Snipes Air trilogy. We could have had Passenger 57. We could have had Drop Zone and Con Air.
Drop Zone. What's Drop Zone?
We could have had the Wesley Snipes Airborne trilogy, and it could be a 3-pack.
No, absolutely, like I would have liked to see. I think I would have equally liked to see both versions of that movie, which is not something that anyone's ever done. I guess you guys could tell me, but could you shoot 2 movies where everything's the same? You're just changing out the you're shooting the same movie twice. You're just changing out the lead character, and you actually release both.
It happened.
Psycho.
They did. They shot the English language and the Spanish versions of Dracula, I think, at the same time. They shot the Spanish ones at night, using the same set and the same script in Spanish and different actors, which is the closest I can think of to. Okay. This is like back in the 30s.
Yeah, at the same time. Yeah. They tried to recreate Psycho shot for shot, and watching Vince Vaughn try to recreate one of the greatest horror performances of all time from Anthony Perkins. Like that, every time I watch Psycho, I fall more in love with his performance. And so watching Vince Vaughn trying to recreate that, but I think Snipes would do a much better job if they were shooting that together. This is way off topic, but I want to snipe Wesley Snipes Con Air now.
I had never heard of Drop Zone. I've just looked up Drop Zone. A tough cop teams up with a professional skydiver.
Yeah.
To capture a renegade computer hacker.
I thought that's what
Is this a Mad Libs plot?
No, so Gary Busey and his crew, they skydive onto buildings.
Wait, hang on. Gary Busey's the skydiver.
Yeah, and he teams up with Yancy Butler. I don't know if you remember her from like Hard Target, but yeah, he teams up with Yancy Butler, and she teaches him. He joins the skydiving team. We did an MFF episode where we could put that and Terminal Velocity against each other. And that was actually
Rex
pretty.
Lynn's in it from Cliffhanger.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Drop Zone has a cast, and it's about thieves who skydive onto buildings to rob them.
Okay.
It's basically Tom Cruise ripped it off in Fallout.
the same film. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Drop Zone equals Fallout.
I thought your quote about always bet on black was from the Drop Zone movie.
Because I've
only watched. Right, because I've only watched Passenger 57 and Drop Zone once, and you could, you could just pick and choose a Snipes movie. He can drop that in wherever, but I thought it was to do with some risk or something that they were taking with the skydiving, and that seemed to make more sense with the kind of gambling, comparison. And I completely forgot that I need to watch both of those anyway. Whatever that is,
and then you can come back and we'll talk about them.
Oh yeah, why not? I mean, Snipes' catalog too. Why not?
I've added Drop Zone to my watch list.
Yeah,
it's not streaming anywhere. But
Blade. I know Blade's been getting love lately, but watching Blade in '98 and then seeing X-Men come out in 2000 after the success of Blade, come on, y'all, give Blade more credit. It's a good movie.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Blade?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's so good. It's the opening, the Blood Rave. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I remember 16 years old watching that. I'm watching this Blood Rave when I was 16. And I just remember going it doesn't get any cooler than this. I actually figured out how much blood came from those sprinklers. I did a data post. The vampires installed.
I'm just watching Marcus's face.
The vampires installed 2 separate sprinkler systems in there. One for the water, because it's in a meat packing factory. And so you see bodies in there, but I'm assuming this is animal blood since it's a meat packing factory, but they installed 2 separate sprinkler systems, one for the blood, one for water. And
so that they can meet code, so they don't get shut down, right?
Yeah. If the union ever comes in, they can expect to be like, they got water pipes. But then like you put the blood in there without coagulating, you drop it on these yuppie vampires who are dancing. Like they must be doing it for a while since there's two separate systems. It's just a brilliant opening, Jay, because this man's brought into it and he becomes the prey of the vampires and he's losing his mind. This is the scariest thing he's ever seen. And then Blade shows up and then all the vampires who are just intimidating the guy act like the guy who is being hunted by the vampires and they freak out. So it's like a really good way to establish a character with 0 words of dialogue. It's a really good intro.
Good point. Like I remember that movie having an impact on me because I don't know, whatever. I was like 12 or something around that time, and like that's quite a lot of movie. That's quite a lot of movie to absorb, and that's a bit of a shocker, Jay, with the blind spot there. But anyway,
I haven't seen any of the Blade films. Any of them.
Okay.
So,
there's some laugh out loud moments on the sequels, I think. But like, but one that sticks out is the iPod moment was like cringe.
Oh yeah.
I think the second or third. Ooh,
she listens to iPods when she goes into battle. Her music. When she goes, because blocking your hearing while fighting villains is a smart idea.
That was tough. But,
however, Blade Trinity is the reason I lost 50. I used to weigh 250. I used to be real big. I used to weight lift and everything. And then my knee hurt, so I had to get knee surgery. Then I watched Blade Trinity while I was home from my knee, getting better from my knee surgery. And I was like, I need to lose weight. And then I found Ryan Reynolds' diet for Blade Trinity, followed that exactly, lost 50 pounds, got down to 200. So Blade Trinity and I have like a special relationship because it helped me lose 50 pounds.
Wow. And now you have a Blade Trinity tattoo. Yeah.
I have a huge one on my chest of Jessica Biel with an archery and then an iPod in her ear. iPod bud in her ear. That's me.
But can you get it's a black silhouette with a white iPod on your tattoo, like white iPod earphone on your tattoo.
And I also really regret I have one on my back. It says Jay. It says. I
can bleep it. It's fine.
It says
Bunny.
Juggling Thunder
Bunny.
because that's a quote from Blade Trinity.
That's the line I know from that film.
I do regret that on my shoulders, but other than that, I'm happy to have it.
It's gonna be
nice.
Bleep Juggling Thunder Bleep. Is what that's gonna sorry. Bunny Juggling Thunder Bunny is how it's gonna come out in the edit.
Nice.
So I back to the film. The scene in question. I like how Larkin deals with the children. I can relate to this because he's like, this must be Casey, then never speaks to her again. Because I don't know how you deal with he glances at her once after that, but what do you do with kids? I don't know. And I'd like that he asks how are you and then backtracks because it's a terrible question because awful, everyone's awful, nothing's going well.
Yeah.
And little Casey's introduction to Larkin, like, hello, Miss Pucklarkin. She's like doing little kid speak. She doesn't really get her words out, which is fine. She's 8.
It's Cusack. He's scary. He has big clothes on.
Yeah, and his tie is fully at ease. It's like he is done for the day. It seems that tie is having a rest.
Yeah, but he looks fresh. He doesn't look. I mean, his clothes say he's tired, but he looks.
His eyes.
He looks fresh. Yeah, he looks awake, fresh.
Well, I mean, he's just like Cole Meany has just left the building, so he can have a rest for a minute. He hasn't got to have a shouting match with somebody. It's just been like the past 4 or 5 chapters, they've just been yelling at each other. So he has to have a little breather. But the response when Trisha's like asks him to explain the situation, and he says, "We're doing everything we can to get the plane down." Technically, that is correct for everybody who's been in the shouting match. Although Cole Meany is doing everything he can to get the plane down in several pieces, whereas Larkin's trying to get it down like landing. So I like the wordplay he's given there. It's all technically true.
That's a clever. Yeah, that's a clever bit
Cusack.
of.
He's so smart, right? When you look at Cusack, do you think he's a smart guy, Marcos?
Yeah, kind of clever. He's thinking of something that you haven't thought of yet. It's like it's got that look. I love how some actors just have a career just out of that. Like their face just sits right, so they look smart. like McConaughey, right, or whatever Matthew McConaughey, like he's kind of like that. He just what's his name, McConaughey or McConaughey?
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah,
McConaughey, right? Yeah, he kind of just I've never seen him like interviewed or whatever, but he looks like he's got some deep thoughts.
He gives a very spacey interview. Not Kevin. He gives a very like just kind of yeah.
He's like, what's your movie like? Well, the movie I worked on, it's like. It's an ether. Like it's like you look at the bowl, you take off your shirt.
Well, if you ever land a job to do a commercial where you don't have to say any words, then you're that actor that looks like because you didn't have to open your mouth, you just look like you can.
Because Lincoln commercials are him. Sometimes he's talking in his Lincoln commercials. Sometimes he's just sitting there.
The Lincoln commercial is so like, what am I watching here? Like this, nothing happened. Like I'm gonna buy this car because he's a good-looking guy. Like what? I don't understand.
If I get this car, will I become him?
Yeah. Like it's very cool. Also, does the car have all-wheel? Yeah. Okay.
If you guys ever get bored, read about his diet for Reign of Fire. I read his book. And like he did this crazy diet for Reign of Fire, and he shaved his head. And like read about his ordeal doing for Reign of Fire. You'll have a good laugh.
And then read Mark's analysis of Reign of Fire's jump.
Yeah, that's
a wonderful jump that he does.
Yeah,
horizontal jump about 25 feet straight across.
He stays parallel with the ground for 25 feet with an axe. He does 25 feet.
So don't watch it. I think.
No, Reign of Fire is awesome. Christian Bale, Jerry Butler, and McConaughey battling dragons. Like life doesn't get any better than that.
It sounds pretty intense. That's.
It'll change your life.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty selective. I'm like within my friends, like well known for being like terrible at getting around to watching movies, and like
it's true.
I'm trying to work. Trying to work big to small on the.
Have you seen Skyfall yet?
No, I haven't seen Interstellar. I haven't seen Gladiator.
Right, but you're a Bond fan. When Skyfall came out, I said, Marcos, you're gonna love Skyfall, and you were like, the cinemas are too busy at the moment. I don't want to go and there be like people near me when I'm watching this film. So and like you have a big screen, you have a projector. For years you had a projector, and Skyfall's been out for 10 years.
I have a mental block. I have a mental block. It's like a kind of movie watching perfectionism, which is a bad habit. So
he's kicked somebody out of his flat before because they were wearing white socks. And he was trying to watch a film.
Yeah.
Don't deny it.
Yeah. Actually, that's a true story. Don't wear the wrong color socks. Or like, social.
It's like having a cell phone at your feet. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you're gonna see the white socks.
Don't be on his side.
No, I see it. If someone's got bright, like high socks watching a movie at night, like you're gonna be looking at those. It'd be like lightsabers.
This isn't going the way it was supposed to go.
There was it was kind of blatant. Do that too. The feet were kind of sticking out, like really far out in front between like the sofa and the projector. The toes are moving. The legs are moving, and the
Did you get a blanket?
Feet are moving. No, I think it was summer. There was some conditions to it that meant, Also, So that was not my finest moment, but it's okay. We're still friends. It wasn't.
They get it. Yeah. What if they took off their socks?
That's a different kind of infringement.
No, I don't know. I think I overestimated, because I can sit still when I'm watching a movie. And I think my friend was more of a fidgeter than I originally thought, along with like a bit of like a wheezing breath sort of problem where, to my left is this kind of like, I can count the breaths. I was pretty pedantic and sensitive about. Anyway, regardless, so I'm pretty careful about who I watch movies with nowadays, which means I don't often watch movies.
Listen, I have misophonia, so I can't take it when people smack. When people smack food or like popcorn,
that's a name.
It's not like a rational thing. For years it was kind of like, well, I don't think this just annoys me. I think this legit like affects me. So when people eat popcorn like one at a time and crunch or smack, like gum smacking it legit, like, I shouldn't share my biggest weakness with people. But I can't focus. I legitimately can't focus. Like, I had a friend once, she's like, I'm just going to smack gum in your face and get you used to it. I'm like, it doesn't work like that.
That's a good friend.
Yeah. But like, I don't have my reaction to it's not rational. It's very like,
it's what name did you give it?
Misophonia. Misophonia. And it really affects me. It really.
Yeah. So it's not, I'm guessing that's what the tail end of that word means. It's not a phobia. It's a whatever the other part is, which means it's a permanent annoyance, but not a phobia or whatever. I don't know. There must be some.
Yeah. Well, they say you're affected emotionally by sounds, and it does affect me emotionally. I really.
Well, yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Because it goes the other way with that ASMR or whatever it is stuff, right? That's the other end of the spectrum where you get a positive. Right. So you're just talking about, obviously there's a spectrum, and you're talking about discovering a noise that, it ticks you off. I have, like most people hate the nails on a chalkboard and all that kind of stuff, right? So there's common and less common ones, but yeah, I hadn't sat and thought about what noises like get me right away like that, but I'm gonna think about that.
Yeah, a lot of earbuds. I've put in a lot of headphones in my life and walk around. So I can't listen to that stuff. I know it's nothing to do with Con Air, but it's real. Don't be ashamed.
I have one final note for the chapter, which is when Billy Vedelman goes down into the hold, the guy stood next to him. I just need to give a shout out to his arms and how ridiculous they are. This is the character Ajax, played by Mongo Brownlee.
Oh yeah.
We haven't talked about here. His arms are ridiculous. They are huge. They are the size of a normal person's torso. And he's just standing there being insane. It's about 2:11 in the chapter.
Yeah.
Mongo Brownlee. He was also in. He was one of the sons in Me, Myself, and Irene. It's just one of the big sons that's not one of Jim Carrey's sons. Clearly.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah,
those are huge.
That's the only thing I know him from. He's been in two episodes of The West Wing as a secret agent, but I don't recognize him from that.
That's the bouncer stance right there. When I was a bouncer, you stand with your arms like that. You kind of puff yourself up.
Yeah, that means you're all business. You're all, you're all.
Yeah, you don't want to be a bouncer with your hands in your pockets. Like, you never see a tough guy with like hands in his back pockets. Like, it's always just kind of like, puffed up.
Yeah. Or even just leaning on one leg, right? You gotta have your weight distributed between both legs.
Yeah.
You don't know which direction the danger's coming from.
You gotta be ready.
Yeah.
Bouncers don't lean, and if you do, stand on both legs.
Yeah, there's a lot of symmetry. Yeah, I see.
That's interesting. Yeah. That should be a song. Bouncers don't lean.
For like Peggy Lee or something.
Well, was it Hustle and Flow? What is it? What, Pimps Don't Cry? What? No, wait. What's the song from Hustle and Flow?
Haven't seen it though.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But he looks quite bored in the scene. Ajax. He's just kind of he's done with. He was amongst the first group of convicts when they escaped. So he's kind of done with it. They're already.
What? This is the name. This is the name of the guy with the big guns. Or
yeah, Ajax.
He looks. You're looking at the frame where he's like looking to his side, watching Bedlam.
Yeah.
He looks. There's a hint of like Lawrence Fishburne, like a jacked, like young Lawrence Fishburne or something there.
When he was still going by Larry. Yeah.
Like
King of New York kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
but
Larry.
That's got to be a big adrenaline dump. You realize that you're free, and then you all got to sit together on a plane for a couple hours.
Because it's like they're 5 hours away from Mexico, so you just got to like be chill for 5 hours. And most of these guys can't do that.
No.
There's some personalities on this plane.
Yeah.
I should reference Con Air next time somebody is complaining to me about flying when I'm on a commercial flight. And just be like, really? You think this is uncomfortable?
But you should pretend it was like something you went through. This is uncomfortable. I was on a plane, got taken over by like the prison.
Tell the real story. I'll tell the turbulence story. I'm gonna wonder how far I could get with the turbulence story, or like nonstop, or one of those plane movies. What do you think, Jay?
I'd give it a go. Yeah, I was on a plane, and most of the passengers had the fish, and then they all started throwing up. There's this inflatable pilot landed the place.
Airplane.
Yeah, great movie. No, that one I got time for.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Good. Well, Jay, how many cons are in the air, man? How many?
19. We are still at 19 cons in the air. We see quite a few of them in this chapter, but only in passing. Marcus, I'm counting how many cons we have in the air at any point, because it's called Con Air, and I just have to do that kind of thing. So there are 19 cons in the air in this chapter, which will be the case for a little while.
And the Sweat Bucket Award goes to?
Definitely goes to Baby-O, to Michael T. Williamson. Yeah, there's no one else is even in contention this chapter.
Love it.
I would say, yeah.
Cool. So others have beaten him on other chapters.
We first awarded this to the chapter when at Carson City, when they have the handover. There's the guard on the bus. Who like finds the spool that rolls out from Falzon's shirt. There's a shot where he's like just normal, cut away, cut back, drenched in sweat. Just like, full. Someone just threw a bucket of water on him between takes. So he was the first recipient of the Sweat Bucket Award. It's a fairly new feature.
It's my favorite theme. It's like when you discovered one Deep Blue scene at a time.
That's not out yet on Deep Blue Sea, but we're getting there. So Marcus, any other thoughts on this chapter or the film as a whole?
Oh yeah, it remains up there. It surprised me. I thought I knew the movie. I got to like 2/3 of it, and there's that whole like third section or so of it, or last
Did
quarter.
You forget there was a fire truck chase?
Oh yeah.
Completely forgot. Completely forgot.
Everyone does, including us.
Yeah, I was surprised and entertained, and you know what? It delivers. It's an era. They don't make them like this anymore. Makes me sound old, and it's cool. It didn't disappoint. I liked it.
I hate to break it to you, we are old at this point.
Yeah. Well, all right. Oh, I can use phrases like that freely. Yeah, I don't need to do the follow up.
Makes me sound old. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Look, after I hit 40, I'm just like, I'm old, so I can sound old. It's cool.
I think I was waiting for the 4, and then I'm like, all right, now, and then, but you're right. It's right there. So, anyway, it's cool. This should be watched. Yeah, I highly recommend it. So it's good. Great movie.
Great.
And great movie to choose for a series too, because there's so much content in there. It's not one of those like lightweight, movies. So, but
yeah, something always happens. It's insane. I love it.
The amount of people who have said like, you're doing Con Air for 40 consecutive weeks is like, yes, we are. So do you have anything to plug, Marcus, or where can the listeners find you online if you wish to be found?
I'm a bit of a lurker, so I got nothing to plug. So actually, no, just happy to be here and have some banter. So
all right, well, happy to have you. Thank you for joining us. Mark, what do you got to plug?
Yeah, just listen to Movies, Films, and Flicks, Movies, Films, and FLIX. Listen to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. We just recorded a fun episode about Harry Potter 4, the Goblet of Fire, or Harry Potter, the Goblet of Fire. Let's see, I got some Versus videos coming out there, fun. I have a Vegeta episode that should come out soon about Dragon Ball Z. That's about it, yeah.
Yeah, good. As you mentioned, Deep Blue Sea, the podcast, we've also got shows coming up on Die Hard 2 and Long Kiss Goodnight. A couple of Rennie Harlan films just in time for Christmas. And the Goblet of Fire Lake Scene, Deep Blue Scene will be out soon. You can hear me once a month hosting Lampardy over on the Lambcast, movie trivia podcast based on Jeopardy, where Mark, I was thinking recently, Mark and I faced off against each other in a semi-final, and the entire result of that game would have ended had you said a different number of the word Torah.
Oh, yeah.
It all hung on 4 letters. I'm not going to say which way it went or how that happened, but had that been gone differently, then the whole show would have ended very differently. But there we are. So you must listen to that episode.
I live life on the edge on that episode. That's fun.
You do. It was a fun, sweaty time.
That patent answer was really good.
It was great, and I'm annoyed you got there before me.
And I'm still proud of my Jeffrey Rush, because I still don't know where that came from.
I'm still furious that you got Jeffrey Rush, because I knew the answer to that question. And you buzzed in a second before me.
I pulled that from somewhere.
Guessed it. The question was, who voices Nigel the Pelican in Finding Nemo? And Mark buzzed in, and out of every actor in the world, guessed Jeffrey Rush, who is correct.
I mean, it must have been in there, right?
Yeah, but still, insane. And I know that just before this podcast, you recorded a guest spot on Die Hard Minute.
Yeah,
which I've been on as well. I'll be on again soon. So quick plug to Movie Rob Minute, who's covering Die Hard minute by minute. Just that's out there too. Rob was on recently.
We talked about, what did we talk about today? Sorry, we talked about Al Young.
Al Young.
Yeah, in his long history of henchmen. So I ranked his top 5 deaths in movies. Nice. So that was fun.
Excellent. And I was on the first 5, and I'll be on the last 1 minute of that. It's coming up soon, I think. Thank you, Marcus, for joining us for Con Air Chapter 20.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me.
This is going to be... Our schedule's been a little bit hectic recently. We had like a backlog of shows in advance, which we've kind of lost through holidays and vacations and illness and things. So we're going to take a little bit of a hiatus covering Con Air chapter by chapter, week on week. There are still going to be shows coming out. They're going to be older shows that Mark and I recorded for Con Air adjacent films over on Deep or Movies, Films and Flicks. So next week, for instance, there is another hostage film involving a hostile takeover and Steve Buscemi. That's right, it's Airheads. That most Con Air adjacent film, Airheads, will be on next week. But there's future films coming up that we'll plug week on week. And we will be back probably sometime in the new year. We have a crouch fight to talk about. We have Garland Greene in a swimming pool. We're coming back to talk about the rest of this incredible, ridiculous film. We're just going to take a couple of months off to build a backlog. So we will come back, don't worry. But as for Con Air Chapter 20, I have been Jake Lewitt.
And I'm Mark Hoffmeyer.
Come back next week, or the bunny gets it.
Sigh.
Anora!